the Heat in the fourth quarter, they had no business winning this game. They outscored the Bucks by 16 points in the fourth quarter. It looked like the game was dead and over. I was half paying attention. Me and my girl were just moving in. I'm putting the couch together, TV up, all of this, and I'm not really even looking at the game. And all of a sudden, the next thing I know, it's like a 4-point game. Like, all right, let's lock in. And the fact that we didn't really give the Bucks or the Heat any chance in this series, and of course, Giannis goes down and changes the entire outlook of the series. But even today, Giannis was Giannis, but you could tell he wasn't himself. On the bench, he wasn't even able to sit down for longer than like a minute or two. Like, his back was without a doubt bothering him. But now we're at a point where the Heat have a 3-1 advantage, and the Bucks, without a doubt, they have the championship pedigree. They have the more talented team. This Heat team is not good. I mean, they had who they have out there? Highsmith getting 15, 20 minutes, right? They have guys who were like borderline G leaguers playing significant minutes for them in this playoff run. So the Bucks have the better team, the deeper team. But I definitely think some of their flaws are showing this series. They're an old team. They're the oldest team in the NBA. You have guys like Joe Ingles and Pat Connaughton getting minutes who are going to get cooked on defense. And you have guys like Middleton and Drew Holiday especially, who offensively has not shown up this playoff series, and Middleton who could be inconsistent at times. And we're just getting shit on the entire game by Jimmy Butler. So it's hard to really make a prediction right now, because without a doubt, you have to give the Bucks a chance to win 3 in a row. But if the Heat just need to win 1, and we see Jimmy Butler could play like the best player in this series with Giannis on the court, they have a very good chance to win 1 game out of these next 3.
For me personally, I think the Bucks get the next game. I think Game 6 in Miami is the one where it's like, all right, for Miami, like, this is probably the most important game of the season. This is the one where Jimmy has to go replicate what he did tonight to get that W. I think that Game 6 is more important for Miami than this Game 5. I think Milwaukee will come out firing. I've been pretty adamant. I don't want to say like loud. I'm going to say adamant about it, though, about the Bucks role players. I've never really been too high on them. I've always felt like, yeah, they're good shooters, but defensively they don't give you what you need, especially on the wings, and that's been exposed a lot. It's just Drew Holiday and the rest. Chris Middleton's not there defensively. Pat Connaughton's not there defensively. Grayson Allen. Like, there's just not enough bodies on the wing defensively that can keep up with these other players. And Drew Holiday, as great as he is, I mean, offensively, he's not that good in the playoffs. He's very inefficient at times, and the underrated tag needs to kind of get swept from his name, because offensively, he does not give you what you need to get on a consistent basis. Defensively, he's great, but he's also the only guy out there. So sometimes he's tired, he's sluggish, he can't give you that 100%. And Jimmy, you got to give love to Jimmy. I wish we came up here and we just gave love to Jimmy instead of trying to put him in conversations where he doesn't need to be, or try to prop him up or lower him down. No, Jimmy should just get praise for the fact that he put on a Herculean performance, probably the best performance of the playoffs by far so far. 56 points. I mean, he was ridiculous in Miami. They were down 12 in the fourth quarter. He came in, he just put on the show. No bag Jimmy was just impressive, and you got to give that credit to him. Miami is not a good team, but they find a way with Spo, with Bam, with Jimmy Butler to just gut out wins, and that's all you can ask from this team. Gut out wins. I think this series from Milwaukee, it shows a lot on Milwaukee than it does on Miami, because even though Giannis is out, we give them that excuse. This team we thought was good enough to at least get a game. We thought this team was good enough to at least thug out one. They couldn't do it, and now they have a big task ahead of them. They have to go in to Milwaukee, which I think they will win, and then Game 6 is going to be a tough task. Miami is going to be loud. Jimmy Butler is going to come to play. You have to realize, what are you going to do defensively? How are you going to scheme against him defensively? You've done it before, but now it's a different task. How are you going to wrap around the fact that Jay Crowder's not good, Grayson Allen's not good defensively, not good, Pat Connaughton's not good defense, Joe Ingles is not. You have a bunch of guys on the wing that can shoot, but defensively they don't offer that. And then I look even further. When you go play the Knicks, when you go play the Celtics, defensively on the wing, what are you going to do? I mean, like, how are you going to be able to manage and coexist and be able to build a scheme that's right to stop these other teams?
I think you make an excellent point, Riv. Even doubling Jimmy Butler, though, I think a trap card that Eric Spoelstra has had in this series is that he's played Duncan Robinson more, and Duncan Robinson is hitting his threes.
Yep.
Game 3, he was amazing from downtown. Game 4, he was amazing from downtown, had 9 points. And I think if you open up the floor, now you allow the defenses to be honest and think twice about double teaming Jimmy. I do think that Drew Holiday has to start the game off on Jimmy Butler, though. You can't have Chris Middleton starting the game off on him. And then once you notice Jimmy's getting hot, oh yeah, now let's put Drew on him. Drew has to be the guy from the beginning of the game that's on Jimmy Butler. And now you put less stress on Middleton because this Bucks team, the way they're built, Holiday is the defensive stopper and Middleton is the offensive half-court shot maker. It's not Drew Holiday. So you'd rather wear down Holiday on defense than Middleton so you can get more out of Middleton offensively.
And it's about setting the defensive tone early. The fact that Jimmy Butler had 22 first-quarter points, he was already getting in that mindset that this is my game. I'm taking this one over. I'm getting us this 3-1 victory. I'm with you, Joel. It's about getting into that bag early, asserting yourself dominantly defensively. Offensively, Middleton can't have the same performance that he had today. 4 for 12 is not going to cut it. I get where you guys are coming from. I can understand where you're saying Brook Lopez is not going to keep this up. I'm with you. He's not going to have another 34-point performance. But if he does, I think firmly the Bucks will win that game. Them losing tonight's game was not because of the offense. They lost this game because their defense was lackluster, and that's usually something that you do not see from the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think Game 5, I'm very confident the Bucks will win this game. Game 6 is really – that's the Heat's best chance to close this one out. And obviously with a 3-1 lead, you like the Miami Heat's chances. But again, I cannot count Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks out just yet. That Game 6 –
best player in the world to you, boy.
No doubt. And I've never, ever said otherwise. I think that Giannis Antetokounmpo, both sides of the ball, is the most consistent. And I think that that's why firmly he's the best player in the world to me. Him getting hurt obviously changed the tides to this series, but he played very well today. You're going to try and blame him defensively for Jimmy Butler having 56. That's where you lose me.
That's Twitter. I just think at some point, like,
because you're calling me out for saying that I think he's the best player in the world.
No, because if your best player in the world loses in the first round, it's fucking hilarious. I don't
disagree.
To be fair to Giannis, actually not to be fair, to actually point something interesting out. We often say, if you're that guy, you get one. Giannis has not got one this series. Their win was without Giannis.
His first game playing, like game 1, he got hurt in like the first or second quarter.
Drew, I just think like I'm not saying Giannis is not great. I have him as a top 2 player in the world. So it's not. I just think at some point you are deemed one of the most versatile defenders in the league by the committee. You're deemed an elite defender. At some point, you got to say fuck the coach. Fuck what he's talking about. Right. This man has 40 points. I can stop him. I have to take the charge. Like at some point, like we've seen Kawhi, we've seen LeBron, like we've seen guys do it, and I think Giannis is good enough to guard Jimmy Butler. So I think like at some point you got to take up the challenge. Like, yo, bro, fuck what he's talking about. I'm the reason we got a ring. I need to go stop this dude from getting to 56 points. Drew is getting baked. Like it's just accountability things, little things here and there, but. The tweet was trolling purpose. I just wanted to get people mad.
When it comes to the Bucks, though, I've seen them multiple times come back from 0-2 deficits in a playoff series against better competition. They're down 3-1 to the Heat. Jimmy Butler had 56. He has 40. They lose. He has 49. He has 50. He got blown out. He has 50. They lose. Jimmy Butler, as great as he is, am I expecting him to go out there and drop 50 every game? I mean, if he drops 34 next game, they might get blown out by 15 points. I still think the Bucks come back in this series if they are willing to go all in and win, because we're not sure about the Bucks. Maybe they're like, Giannis's injury, his back injury, maybe a little bit more serious than we think. Is it worth it putting him out there? So if they are willing to win this series and be like, Giannis, we're going to let you loose, they should win this series. They should come back 3-1. They should win next game in Milwaukee. They should go to Miami and win. And at home, Game 7, they're not going to lose.
I really don't feel too different. Game 6 is really the one that I would say is up in the air for the fact that Miami crowd, Jimmy Butler at home, he's going to be ready to play, and he's going to want that one because he understands going into a Game 7 in Milwaukee is not the most ideal situation for the Miami Heat. And one other thing that we got to emphasize how impressive this performance was, Tyler Hero's not playing. So even more offensive responsibility is being put onto Jimmy Butler's shoulders. You got to give credit to like the one other person. You mentioned Duncan Robinson. Caleb Martin hit some big shots. But other than that, this really was just Jimmy Butler putting on the backpack performance of a lifetime. So that's really why I do struggle with the idea that Milwaukee's just going to roll over and take this one. I just can't see that, especially with this game in particular, where they were leading a majority of the game. They had their first lead late in the fourth quarter. Milwaukee simply choked this one away. I can't expect that same energy game 5 and even a game 6.
We got to shout out Caleb Martin because, look, they're in this game because of Jimmy, but Caleb Martin in transition and the 2 jumpers he hit, one was a 3, one was a 2 on the corner, foot on the line. That was absolutely game-changing in that 11-0 run. Now, we all know Mike Budenholzer was an inch away from being fired in 2021. After seeing his surely, I don't know how to describe it, the Bucks go on the Heat go on an 11-0 run. The Bucks don't call a timeout.
Facts.
We've seen in the playoffs before with Mike Budenholzer, very questionable decisions, a lack of adjustments. If they get I wouldn't say blown. If they lose to the Miami Heat, 5 or 6 games, is Mike Budenholzer gone?
Yeah, he has to. He has to. It doesn't matter what you want.
His injury, though?
I think it's interesting because with Ime off the market, it makes it a little bit like, where are you looking at now? I thought Ime would have been a great hire or great option for Milwaukee, but he's gone. But I do think at some point you have to realize, the roster needs fixing, but Budenholzer is the problem. Like he is not a good coach. He's never been a good coach. You got saved by a couple injuries and Giannis being Giannis. Budenholzer has never shown the ability to be a coach that can adjust and outcoach any other guy on the side. I mean, he was fucking outcoaching Steve Nash. That shit doesn't count. So the fact that outside of that, he's never really done it, it's time to go, bro.
But the Bucks roster is also old and unathletic.
It's the oldest roster in the
NBA. They need a new coach, but they also need to make moves. I think you have Giannis is obviously staying. Drew is obviously staying. Brook Lopez, for what he provides, I think he's a pretty safe bet too. But outside that, like Middleton could be everybody else, all the role players in Chris Middleton, they could be moved. New guys have to come in because, like you said, Joel, they're old and unathletic and they don't play defense. And a lot of them are just, you're going for 3-point shooters, and you brought in Joe Ingles and Jay Crowder, who was a DNP today and looked cooked in the first few games of the series. So even the moves they did make this season have not provided really any sort of value this year.
Joe Ingles is coming off a torn ACL. He was already unathletic before that. Pat Connaughton shooting 33% from 3. Grayson Allen is a great shooter, but defensively doesn't offer much. This team needs more juice athletically. It's the bottom line of it. And I know that I gave my prediction for how I think the series is still going to go, but are any of you now siding with the Heat that they're going to win the series and outblow this lead?
It's not over for the Bucks. I wouldn't say this is over, but my prediction is that in Game 6, the same way you guys think the Heat at home court will take care of business, that will decide the series. If the Heat don't get it done in Game 6, I expect Milwaukee to return the favor in Game 5. I think the Bucks are going to be the team, the 5% of teams that come back from 3-1, and it sure helps to have home court.
I'll be a hater. I'll say Miami takes it in 6.
If that happens, the Knicks are going to the conference finals.
Yeah, I'll fuck around and be a hater. I don't mind it. It's funny though because damn, no, I actually lost my train of thought. Never mind. Yeah.
I can't count out Giannis yet. I think if you're a Bucks fan, you have to look at this and say, like you guys mentioned, Jimmy Butler had to put on a godlike performance to win by 5 points. And if you're a Heat fan, you got to say, we just got to get lucky once. We got to have a game where they turn the ball over. We have to have a game where they're not hitting their threes. And as long as we just get that one, we can move on to the second round and play the Knicks. And I don't think that's a great matchup for them. But I think both ways, both fan bases at least, should feel positive about their chances. But I still have to stick with Milwaukee. I would much rather be wrong and the Heat just win a game than look back on it and say, I can't believe I didn't trust Giannis to just win 3 games against this pretty terrible Heat team.
Giannis will be a Bull soon. He's coming to the Chicago Bulls. Just FYI.